Good morning, everybody, and thank you for spending some of your time with us on this wonderful Monday morning. We are so excited for this project today. We are launching the Ramp Stamp of Approval website today. Rampapproved.com. It's the website that you're going to use for all things accessible. So we are very, very excited about this, and we are going to kick us right off today with the mayor of East Providence, who is also the head of all leagues of cities and towns right here, and he's going to tell us a little bit about why accessibility in this program is so important. So, Mayor DaSilva.
Thank you, Tina, so much. Apologies for my tardiness. We had traffic on the road. I don't know what happened earlier this morning. I apologize. First, I want to start off by recognizing Tina as an incredible advocate for accessibility for all people across the state, and not only across the state, but across the nation. I've had the incredible honor of working with her on different issues. One of them being bringing more accessible housing, working with people in the industry to see if we can bring more accessible housing to our communities, and also on Tina's tables, which we happen to have one at City Hall, very proudly displayed, and we are in the process of ordering some more. So Tina's, put together a program to bring more awareness to those businesses that make their place an open place and accessible to all people of all abilities. And what better way to promote that than having a website where they can self-assess, they could go in ahead of time, check to see whether or not they are accessible, and then ask for Tina or someone from her staff to come down and give it a stamp of approval. Accessibility benefits all and removes barriers that prevent individuals from participating in everyday activities, including people with disabilities, elderly, and families with children. Accessibility creates community. Ramp stamp approval demonstrates commitment to accessibility, which can improve an organization's reputation while fostering goodwill among customers and building a stronger sense of community. Accessibility helps your business grow, strengthens customer experience for all customers, and can help your business or organization attract a wider audience, leading to increased sales and customer attention. We believe that this website, with Tina's leadership and her advocacy, and of course, municipal leaders across the state, pushing to ensure that businesses become more accessible. But maybe even looking at, and I know we had this discussion, looking at ordinances that we can adopt in municipalities so that those ordinances require even those grandfathered places to become more accessible. So Tina, thank you so much for your leadership on this. It's been wonderful working with you on all these different initiatives, and this one we're very proud of. And I know that some of our places have received a stamp of approval, right?
Yeah.
A ramp stamp of approval. So thank you all. And by the way, I do want to recognize some of the people in attendance here today. Nancy Wolanski, Director of Nonprofit Resource Center, United Way of Rhode Island. Michelle Carr, Executive Director of Leadership Rhode Island. Joanne Palini of the State of Rhode Island Veterans Officers Services. Liznell Arias of Leadership Rhode Island. Carrie Gill of Rhode Island Energy. Louis Mendez, Triple J Drywall and Carpentry. Brittany Grisafuli, and Jim McAfee. Thank you all for being here. Thank you.
I'm going to stay right here to do the rest of my talking because my wheelchair is so slow. So we're going to do this a little bit differently, but Mayor DaSilva has been such a champion for us now that he's in the head guy of all of our mayors and cities around. He's going to be able to help make that bigger push to make sure that all mayors and city councilmen are making sure that their cities and towns are accessible. Our next speaker today, because we're in the beautiful United Way, who not only went fully accessible, they now promote it, that they are fully accessible. They put their money where their mouth was. They walk the walk, as I say, or roll the roll, as I do. So Nancy is going to come up because I was part of the nonprofit, one of the nonprofit groups to create the Alliance for Nonprofit Impact. So Nancy's going to come up and tell us what accessibility and the impact means to the United Way.
Thanks, Tina. I am Nancy Wolanski. I'm the director of the Alliance for Nonprofit Impact, which is the new statewide nonprofit resource center here at United Way. And we, as part of our development process for the Alliance, we had a 18-month design period where we had a team of nonprofit leaders, including Tina, working together with stakeholders, really listening to what nonprofits need and how we can provide that support. And one of the amazing things that Tina brings to a group like that is not just her energy and her passion and her commitment to the community, but also making sure that we were focused on the issue of accessibility. And so as we developed the Alliance, one of the things top of mind for us is how can we help the nonprofit sector become more accessible? Because we are trying to serve the entire state and people with special needs in the state. And so then the priority of really making those areas accessible is really important. And so we are proud to have here at United Way to have a ramp accessibility sticker for our building here. We do have walk-ins and roll-ins for 211 and for the point. And so it's really important to us that people can get into the building and get around the building because we want to make sure that our services are available to anyone who needs them. And we are looking for additional ways to work with Tina and RAMP to support the nonprofit sector as a whole. Many organizations are in older buildings, and that can be very tricky to figure out how to make them accessible. And so it's also an opportunity for philanthropy and for the state to look at opportunities to support those organizations, to make those buildings more accessible, and to open up the ability for all of Rhode Islanders to access the services that they need. We tend to forget that the nonprofit sector is the state's service infrastructure in essence. So the state is depending on nonprofits to be able to provide direct services to all of our neighbors. And if they can't get in the building, they're not going to be able to access those services, which in some cases are mandated by law. And so it's really not just an issue within the sector, but it's also an issue for philanthropy and for the state to be thinking through as well. So we really encourage nonprofits to have a roll through with Tina, where she'll be able to point out some of the issues with their buildings. And then also we are encouraging the state and philanthropy to step up and to make some of those investments to ensure that all of our neighbors can access the services that they need.
Thank you. So when this program got started, we started going out and doing roll-throughs for business. Mind you that all of our roll-throughs are free of charge. We don't charge anything because accessibility is too important. We are on donation only. So I've never been to a business yet that has not made a donation because we benefited them. You let more people in, you raise your bottom line. That's just how it works. So we started giving out RAMP stamp of approval stickers. So my next thing was I wanted to collect all of these so people could go on and find out. Well, since I am a Leadership Rhode Island Tau 2 best class ever graduate, what better way than when the next class after me came around, they were doing their project and partnered up with us to create this website. So we were brought together to create this website all through the program Leadership Rhode Island, and we have Teresa Deflitch to tell us a little bit about that.
All right, thank you so much, Tina. It is, I'm so happy to be here. Michelle has the most beautiful twins, except this morning they are both sick. And so probably not so beautiful this morning, but she is homesick with those twins. So it's an honor for me to be here today. I'm the Director of Leadership Development at Leadership Rhode Island. And as we all know, leadership is not just about having a vision, but about taking action, about creating real, tangible impact that uplifts all people in our state. And today we are here to recognize how leadership in action can create lasting change, especially when it is grounded in inclusion. At Leadership Rhode Island, we have guided hundreds of community-based projects through the Leadership in Action program, in which we divide our class of 75 into small teams, each of which is charged with making a difference in our state within 10 months. Working with people they have never met before. And usually there's, at this point, those feelings of group work when you're in high school and how that's gonna go. But we had this amazing team, Team 4, known as 4 Inclusion, that did just that. They came together and made a difference in the state. 4 Inclusion partnered with RAMP, with Tina, to promote accessibility for individuals with mobility aids throughout the state of Rhode Island. They worked closely with Tina to identify how their group could support RAMP, and onward from there, the team volunteered over 300 hours working on this project. They observed the assessment process, interacted with businesses and organizations interested in accessibility, volunteered at the 2024 Accessibility is Beautiful event, created multiple resources such as an FAQ, self-assessment, contracts, how-to guide, and more, all of which are going into making the new RAMP website for the certification process an impactful resource that honors Tina's work and lights the way to a more accessible and inclusive state. Thank you to the Leadership Rhode Island 2024 Upsilon, maybe also the best class ever, maybe, Team 4 for your commitment to bringing this vision to life. This initiative is a perfect example of this kind of leadership in action at the local level that creates positive change. The RAMP website with a directory of accessible locations throughout the state will not only increase mobility, but will also promote greater participation, inclusion, and engagement. It's through collaborative efforts like this one, uniting local leaders, businesses, and organizations that we truly live out the values of accessibility, inclusion, and belonging that we strive for every day. Thank you.
Thank you. So that's how we all came together. It was such a great journey, especially when they reached out to me for the first time and we pitched this project, and they have been nothing but miraculous. The only time you'll ever hear me say that Town 2 is not the best class ever, they're the best class ever, but I have to say Team 4 is always near and dear the best team ever, because they created this wonderful website for us to go forward and for all of Rhode Islanders to have a place where now you can go through. If you're not accessible, you're missing out on 55% of the population. It's not just disabled people, it's anybody who uses a mobility aid. Think of our population of 60 and older, or the people who have been in car accident, motorcycle accidents, or whatever, either temporarily or permanently using a mobility aid is who we are striving to make profit for. We are into the holiday season. You're all getting ready to spend time with your family and friends. Well, if I asked everybody in this room to raise their hand of how many in this room could let me in to visit with them, probably I'd get maybe one hand, only because I know one has a brother in a wheelchair. So she probably might be the only one that would raise her hand. So we can't visit with our family and friends if public spaces are not accessible. We end up alone to spend the holiday by ourselves. So this is why this is so important. So now I'm going to bring up Joanna Pallanini up to the podium to show their video of the program. She's going to tell you a little bit about what they did, but again, Team 4 is the best team ever.
Thank you, Tina. We have some of our Team 4 members here today, and I would love to have them join me up here. That means you. Come on. So our Team 4 members that we have here today, we have Brittany Crisafulli, we have Stephen Panza, we have Luis Mendez, and Jim Mackesy. Our team members that couldn't be here today, we have Liznell Arias, Carrie Gill, and Matt Netto. Without this team, we could not have accomplished all this work, and so I want to thank you for all the work we have done.
You guys all truly have my gratitude.
You guys don't have to stay up. You can if you want, but I'm going to talk a lot. Sorry. Apologize in advance. So as Tina said, in February 2024, the 8 of us, our group, came together to work on the leadership and action component of Leadership Rhode Island. We were tasked with the opportunity to address the theme of well-being in our state. Our group identified accessibility as being vital for inclusion, belonging, and well-being. We had the opportunity to partner with RAMP and Tina to promote the accessibility of organizations in our state. Although the Americans with Disabilities Act has helped improve the accessibility of buildings, not all buildings are accessible. Not all buildings are required to comply with ADA, and not all parts of the buildings are truly accessible. When visiting a new business or restaurant, individuals who use mobility aids often have to pre-scout a location to determine if it's actually accessible. The RAMP Stamp of Approval program identifies businesses and organizations that are accessible. For inclusion, our group worked with Brave River Solutions to develop a website that highlights these organizations. The new RAMP Stamp of Approval program was launched by RAMP in 2024. Organizations can receive a RAMP Stamp of Approval by having a successful roll-through by a RAMP representative. During a roll-through, a RAMP representative will take a look at your premises, offer suggestions for how to improve the accessibility of your space, and provide guidance and resources for further support. The roll-through is a safe space to ask questions and to learn how to make your premises more accessible. While the highlight of the RAMP Approved website is the searchable database of accessible businesses, the website also serves as a connection for individuals to request a roll-through, a resource guide to learn more about accessibility-related financial assistance, grants for home and workplace modification. It's also an opportunity to donate to RAMP. On the website, you'll find an FAQ that provides information about the RAMP Stamp of Approval and a self-assessment document for organizations to assess their premises for accessibility. The website also contains the contract agreement with terms and conditions for qualifying businesses to display the RAMP Stamp of Approval. So I'm going to take you just through a quick walk through the website. So here is the website you can see up on the screen. We have some tabs along the top. So here you can access the database of accessible locations. You can find some information on why it's so important to get the RAMP Stamp of Approval. There are FAQs, so if you have questions about accessibility or the program in itself, it's going to be listed here under the FAQs. There's also the self-assessment that businesses, organizations can download, and they can look through the self-assessment to see what a RAMP representative will be looking for if they come out to do a roll-through. You can schedule a roll-through, and again, there's an opportunity here to donate to RAMP. So if you come down to the bottom of the screen, you'll see we're going to highlight our recently approved businesses, and again, there's links to whether you can determine if your business is accessible. So if I click on the Accessible Locations tab, that's going to take me to the directory. The directory is going to list all the businesses that have been assessed and have received the RAMP Stamp of Approval. So you can see here we have a map. You can click on any of the pins to find a location. You can see there's some locations in Massachusetts and Connecticut, but we're primarily focused in Rhode Island. So if you come down to the bottom, my favorite part is that you can filter. So you can filter by the city that you're looking for. You can filter by the type of location, the type of business. Down the bottom, it's going to show all of the businesses and organizations, that have been approved. So the nice thing here is that there's going to be a snippet about the accessibility itself. So it's going to tell you where there are accessible parking spaces, whether the bathrooms are accessible and things like that. So this is such a great resource for people who are looking to see if a restaurant is accessible before they go, so they don't have to pre-scout anymore. So that was just a quick look at the website. Please feel free to go onto the website, play around more with it. Just wanted to show you how easy it is to find accessible locations on the website. So perhaps you're like me. You've seen the impact that the lack of accessibility can have because a family member or a friend has a disability. Or maybe you have aging parents that need to use a mobility aid. The RAMP Stamp of Approval is such an incredible program for all Rhode Islanders. Our contributions to RAMP through our work in Leadership Rhode Island have allowed our team to learn more about community organizations who have an interest in accessibility and the importance of educating the community about accessibility barriers. Belonging doesn't include having to call ahead to make sure that you can enter a building. Having to ask for special accommodations does not make for a welcoming, inclusive environment. While we don't have to disparage organizations for not being accessible, through this program, we can encourage organizations to create an environment that welcomes all people. In closing, I want to take this moment to thank my LRI team members for their creativity, passion, our collaboration, and desire to make change in Rhode Island. I want to thank Jim Mackesy and Brave River Solutions for volunteering the technical and creative resources to collaborate on website design and development. I want to thank Leadership Rhode Island for the opportunity to work on what I refer to as my passion project. And I want to thank Tina and RAMP. Tina is an advocate and a champion for accessibility. I'm so grateful for the work we have done and the work that we will continue to do to improve accessibility in our state. Thank you.
Thank you all. Like I said, I could not be more grateful. I want to be clear. We are not looking for businesses to be 100% accessible. It's not possible. There are so many different disabilities out there, whether visual or invisible, that you could not make a place 100% accessible. The minute we said we're making it 100% accessible, you're going to get that person who's going to come in and tell you it's not. So we're not going for 100% accessible. We're going for, can we get in the front door? Can we use your bathroom? Can we utilize 85 to 90% of your space? That's what we're going for. We're not only doing free assessments, we're also training your staff to become interactive with the disability community or anybody who uses the mobility aid in a proper, positive way forward. And we do all of this for free. We also offer you grant money. With the Governor's Workforce Board, there's a $5,000 grant that each business can utilize to start the process of becoming accessible. Once you start the process of becoming accessible, there's up to $15,000 in grant money each and every, not grant money, tax breaks, each and every year that you can take to continue the process going forward. So we're not only doing it for free, we're giving you the money to do it, we're giving you the tax breaks to do it, and we're raising your bottom line. There is no downfall here to anybody to reach out. We will never throw a business under the bus. We will never tell anybody that your business is not accessible, but we will promote, highly promote, the businesses that go accessible to bring in more people. You don't want to be that business that the business to the right of you and the business to the left of you is getting all the business while you're going under because you're the one who's not accessible. We have probably about 50 stickers out at the current time right now. We're taking our time to get them out there to make sure that we're putting the best descriptions out there so people can make the decision whether that restaurant works for them and their disability or not. But it's going to get to the point. Imagine a world where everybody, every politician, every leader, every business only used businesses that had the ramp stamp of approval. I bet you everybody would go accessible because we want Mayor DaSilva to be at all our events. We want the governor to be at all of our events. We want all of you to be at all of our events. So if we all started using places that only had the ramp stamp of approval, not just yet, wait till we get more out there. But once we do, the other businesses will follow suit because they'll want your business. So be part of, as I call it, the idea, inclusion, diversity, equity, accessibility. Open your perspective to the inclusion of all by becoming accessible and getting the ramp stamp of approval. Thank you all so much for coming. I appreciate you.